Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7, and today I just woke up. It's Thursday, balance adjustment preview day, and I am super excited. As always, have not read these ahead of time. This is just me reading them as we go. I will make mistakes. I will give my own opinions, and we'll just have fun together, and hopefully we see some stuff that we want to see. As for what I want to see somebody that hasn't got 50 changes already. I want to see something that changes the meta in some way. I personally like seeing nerfs, but I don't think that's going to be a thing. What else? There's a ton of units I'd love to see used. I just don't want it to be the same as it has been in terms of very small changes to units that have maybe already gotten a bunch of changes. And I'd like to see at least one full rework in terms of maybe not the best example because I don't think it worked well, like the Ken rework, but you know, here we go. Okay, so first off's first. Let's see. 7 heroes, 2 artifacts. So is that 5 heroes and 2 SCs or something like that? Or I'm scared. 2 artifacts. Artifacts are always good too. Last Rider Krau. Okay, that's pretty cool. That makes sense with the story recently. Unfortunately, he's one of the units I don't have. Yeah. Closer Charles. Yeah, unfortunately, another one of the units I don't have. Who else do we have here? Can I at least have one? So when I said Ken, I didn't mean Ken again. I specifically meant the opposite of that. Okay. What else? Lilias. Okay. So weird. So weird. Lilias is still good. There we go. Okay, Illyanav there. That's all it takes is one good Illyanav and we're set. That's all I care about. Tywin as well. Christy. Oh, okay. So there's only 1 3-star. They actually did more than usual. 0 4-stars again. That's one of the other things I would have liked is more 4-stars. I always like to see more 4-stars. And Christy's kind of interesting, right? If there's a change in a unit, I feel like I wouldn't pick Christy because she's already fantastic. I feel like I wouldn't pick Ken because he's already been changed a bunch and other people need attention. Like, what about Bale and Cezanne? What about making him good? Stuff like Lilias. I think Lilias is already pretty good, especially for PvE. Tywin, I'm not sure anymore. Tywin is probably not as good, but there's so many openers now. And these two, honestly, I don't know what they need because I have not used them and I don't fight them anymore because you don't really fight Closer Charles when you're attacking on offense. Okay, Ancient Dragon's Legacy. I just summoned one of these yesterday, so hopefully it gets a good old buff. And Crown of Glory as well. Okay, so let's see what these do here. So I may be a little bit off on the units I haven't used before, especially the ML5. So previously, after suffering an attack that targets all allies, decreases the caster's skill cooldown by 1 turn. Now, after being attacked, decreases skill cooldowns of the caster by 1 turn. And after suffering an attack that targets all allies, by an additional 1 turn and increases the barrier strength. So basically, an AoE will do 2-turn cooldown, right? Like, that seems pretty bonkers. And also, if it's not AoE, if it's just target as him, that's also 1. So this looks pretty bonkers to me, personally, assuming they both proc at the same time, and I imagine they do. I don't see why it wouldn't. Now, Mobile Siegfried here. So it's going, okay, so it's going up 1 turn to counteract this, right? Otherwise, it'd be up like every 2nd turn, basically. So they want to make it up every 3rd turn or something instead. Also, damage dealt increases proportionate to the caster's max health and speed. Interesting. Does he not speed buff? Yes. No. I think he speed buffs with his skill 1, right? I feel like, again, I'm sorry if I'm doing this wrong, but I feel like Last Rider Krau gives himself speed buff on his skill 1 instead of provoke. I might be wrong there, but cool. Maximizing synergy with his other skill punishment, which increases his speed. Okay, so yeah, this is a pretty cool change. It doesn't look like a massive change, right? Because maybe a little bit of more damage here, and it will be essentially up more on average as well, and a little bit more barrier. We'll see if that's enough to push him into being used more. I feel like if I had him, He'd be a decent person to use in Guild War offense. Let's take a look at Closer Charles. This one I don't even know what Closer Charles does. I'm not gonna lie. Literally no clue, except all he gets is this skill cannot trigger a counterattack. How boring and small. Okay, so that's a little bit unfortunate. That seems like a waste of a buff to me. I mean, obviously this is a good thing. Anything that says this cannot trigger a counterattack is good, but maybe counterattack's too strong. Maybe that's the thing to change. Instead of every skill cannot trigger a counterattack, maybe make it so counterattack does 50% less damage or something like that. Instead of giving every single person this line. Interesting. So, yeah. Okay, and what about Ken? Ken's another one. I don't entirely know what he does because I don't use him. He's one of my least favorite characters in the game. I just don't like that martial arts style. It's not my jam. Before... Celestial Kick is just decreased defense now, and it just acquires 40 fighting spirit. You don't have to kill anybody. I mean, that seems like a pretty good boost, right? Phoenix Flurry now starts the battle with 50 fighting spirit and gains 5 fighting spirit when attacked. Now, at the start of the first battle, it just gains 40. Okay, so it makes it more consistent, right? He, just by attacking here, he gets 40 fighting spirit here. I think this is the... Is this the skill 1 as well? If this is the skill 1, maybe it allows you to build him on counter set or something to get more fighting spirit. I'm not sure, but it obviously looks more consistent, right? Because you don't have to be attacked for once. You also do not have to defeat an enemy. Interesting. So that's another change that is interesting. Okay, so Lilias here. Okay, after reading the first bit of this, I'm really excited because as I was talking about Lilias before, if they made her into a super unique cleaver with high attack units, I think that would be really fun. And that looks like what they're going to do by here, because I'm really excited. Also, Soulburn grants an extra turn. Okay, this one has me excited here. Getting 50% crit chance on Lilias is insane. That's a huge amount of stats that you are... Oh, this is just her skill 1. I'm really hoping that's on the other ones too. So now she can Soulburn extra turn multiple times. It's insane for PvE, right? Or is Raz still going to be better in general? Weird. Okay, so... Wait. What's going on? They changed it entirely. Okay. So she's getting a rework of sorts. I really hope they give the crit rate to her skill 3 and they let you use her as like a massive damage dealer with somebody like Gunther. I really hope they do. Okay, so before, her skill 2 was a barrier and provoke. Now, after an enemy uses a non-attack skill, another trigger, does this turn into a passive then? Dispels the debuff from the caster and activates suppression against the enemy caster. Suppression can only be activated once every 2 turns, and suppression provokes. So suppression is basically this. The whole skill here is basically suppression. Also going to make the barrier stronger. So this means you don't have to use her skill 2. It's just automatic, eh? I really like that. That's really cool. Good way to stop certain cleaves as well. For example, I imagine if Ran uses his skill 2, then she's going to dispel a buff from herself, not cut in, but use provoke on the Ran, and of course this does no damage, right? So elemental advantage or disadvantage does not matter. And then please have the crit rate. Yes! Okay, that makes me really excited. Damage dealt increased, you madman. You actual madman. Okay, so ready, load, fire. Instead of increasing CR by 50%, it now increases hit chance by, or critical hit chance by 50%, and it increases damage dealt. That seems... I am very excited for this change. Obviously, losing 50% CR sucks, but we do have the Soulburn extra turn now. So in general, this is kind of a weird one, right? Because I know a lot of people use Lilias for PvE. I think she's an insane PvE unit, and I think this makes her a lot worse for that, which is a little sad. I don't like making units that are people's staples for PvE slightly different to make them slightly better in PvP. I don't like that, but I do love this. This is really, really, really cool. I'm very excited for this. Oh, I forgot about Illyanav. My golly gee. Okay, so let's talk about Illyanav now. So Illyanav needs all the help in the world. I really like her. I triple S'd her. I don't know what happened, what was going through my mind there. But her skill 1 just does more damage. Okay. Her skill 2, a successful attack deals additional damage equivalent to 50% of injuries inflicted. So they're going deep on the injuries. And Soulburn is 10 increases damage, which is pretty impressive as well. And then Repel here inflicts injuries as well. And also, the severity of the injuries proportionate to damage dealt. Injuries decreases max health of the target by up to 20% and increases damage dealt. So overall, she got a pretty massive, well, in quotes, massive damage dealt decrease here, especially with Soulburn as well. Also, successful attack is worrying. I hate misses. But outside of that, successful attack as well. It doesn't need to crit, just needs to hit, right? That's a lot of... It's really hard to tell how this is going to work because, like, in terms of how she actually plays, this doesn't really change anything, right? This just makes her do more damage, which is maybe what she needed, right? She also has a really unique AoE crit damage buff for her team, which is pretty cool too. And she does still buff defense. No, she doesn't buff defense on herself. That's a little unfortunate. I really, really liked the self-defense buff, just to help protect herself, right? Interesting. Okay, so now for Tywin here. Now Soulburn, effect chance up to 100%. That's not bad, but... Wait, does that mean he's just going to gain an extra turn without Soulburn? Because he gained an extra turn before, right? Oh god, lots of stuff is happening. I'm going to screw this one up, team. To note, I absolutely hate these types of Soulburns. You only get 25% extra chance to increase the effect chance from your Soulburn, and you can still get 15%. I really feel like if you're going to give him a 10% Soulburn chance, it should be ignores effect resistance as well. Maybe that's too powerful, but I don't really think so. I'd even rather have 75% chance to dispel, have this not go up to 100 and have ignores ER instead. I would much rather have that. Either way, he's getting that for his skill 1. So tactical command here grants increased attack, critical hit chance to the caster, and an ally for 2 turns. Now, immune to debuffs, which prevent movement. Okay. When an ally in the back row has a debuff which prevents movement after being attacked, activates Commanding Shout on the target, can be activated once every 2 turns. Commanding Shout dispels all debuffs from the ally, grants immunity and barrier for 2 turns. Interesting. So, this is very, very specific now. Basically, if the person in the back row gets stunned or slept, they don't. Very, very specific. I imagine this will be like some sort of anti-cleave now. I'm not sure. And now his skill 3, Soulburn gone, acquires 3 souls instead, and increases defense of all allies for 2 turns. Okay, that's pretty good. I like the self buff here. I like when people get buffs that aren't necessarily on everybody, like the defense there. Also, he's changing his exclusive equipment, decreases cooldown, now increases CR of the back row by 10%. That's pretty sick. Swordstorm's is skill 1, right? Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I do like that. Exclusive equipment, commander shouts barrier strength. Okay. Interesting. I'm not really sure what to think about this. Obviously, he's probably pretty good in very, very specific situations, but I'm not sure what those situations are, and I don't think they apply to me. This one is kind of I'm kind of worried about this because I really like Christy. So now they are going, has a 50% chance to counterattack when attacked. Now, after being attacked when the caster does not have a debuff, increases Sierra the caster by and the ally in the back row by 20%. Can only be activated once per turn. That seems really good, right? Because it's only 15% chance to counterattack. And this does protect the back line more, which fits into what she does. This is kind of cool, right? I don't know in practice how this is going to be. I've used her a lot. I can't remember like how important the counterattack is. Interesting. But now Crown of Glory here. 8 to 16 defense and removes souls. Now, when an ally suffers an attack that targets all allies, decreases damage suffered by 20% and removes 5 souls from the enemy. And then damage reduction here. Very interesting on that. I think this will be really good. That's a lot of damage reduction, right? Yeah, useful for team-oriented battles for sure. Now Ancient Dragon's Legacy. Okay, here we go. After the caster uses a non-attack skill, decreases skill cooldowns of all allies by 1 turn, and has a 100% chance to increase critical hit damage of the caster by 2 turns, skill cooldown reduction effect can only be activated once. So this is cool and all, but why not make this a new artifact? This is a different artifact, right? Especially since a lot of people that are using Ancient Dragon's Legacy are using it for the 15% critical hit chance to fill in their build. I imagine this is still going to be great. I think. Like maybe there's some combo here with like Ran goes, uses skill 2, skill 3. Then somebody with Ancient Dragon's Legacy goes, fixes one of the, or reduces one of the cooldowns. And then Ran goes again and RNL skill 2, skill 3s, something like not a good example, but you get the idea what I'm getting at here, right? Interesting. Okay, so those were patch notes for sure. Really quick as we go into this because this is getting long. Krau seemed interesting, but it looked like the exact same thing, just maybe slightly better. Closer Charles, they made it so what did he do again? So that's obviously just a flat buff, but you know, kind of boring. Ken's I wasn't so sure about, just made him more consistent. I think he needed more than more consistent. Lilias I'm really excited for, but I'm very sad that she is less good for PvE now. Illyanav is one of those ones we'll just have to see, right? No thematic change, or maybe thematic's not the right word. No actual change, more so damage changes, which might be good. Also loses defense buff, which is very sad. Tywin was a change for sure, so was Christy. And 2 artifacts. Okay, so let me know what you think about these in the comments below. This is kind of a weird one for me. They did do a lot more than they usually do, I think. And good for Krau. Don't know if, yeah, that was kind of my thoughts. DDR, yes. Lilias got the best buff, I agree. Christy is good too, yep. Good for Ella Krau, but I don't know if it's, we already read that. That whiny pig again. I'm surprised heroes that need buffs actually made it. Lilias looks really fun. Yeah, I'm very excited for Lilias. I'm very excited. Just the 50% crit rate is such a massive buff when you're building her as a meme, which, let's be real, that's how I'm gonna build her. Decreases skill cooldown artifact, finally a counter. No, right? Because the caster, oh, I mean, I guess they can automatically trigger a non-attack skill or something. Interesting. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.